This is getting just out of hand as we have some surprising new reports that have dropped surrounding the Lakers and one particular player that is not only ridiculous, but at this point has gotten completely out of hand and downright ludicrous. So to break down exactly what these new rumors and reports are and discuss what it means going forward is, folks, things have taken a wild turn. We're also going to dive into a couple of other Lakers updates on this episode, but before we get into it all, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. Your guys' support has been absolutely unbelievable, folks. A lot to go over today, and obviously, we're going to be diving into some reports, some rumors, and even some comments from Charles Barkley that have come out later in the video. Stay tuned for that are at this point just downright ridiculous. And let's dive right into it. Now, been following the Lakers all offseason. It started off with some trade reports about LeBron James and obviously the Rich Paul situation, all these different things. We're going to dive into a ludicrous trade here. But a new report has come out, and bear with me here, that the Warriors have called the Lakers about LeBron James trade multiple times in the last 18 months. So a new report came out surrounding LeBron James getting traded, and specifically this time to the Golden State Warriors. And basically, the report basically goes on to say from Jake Fisher here, as long as LeBron James's future in LA remains uncertain, Golden State will undoubtedly be mentioned as potential LeBron James suitor. And I'm told that the Warriors have called the Lakers on multiple occasions over the past 18 months to see whether there is any trade pathway to pairing LeBron with Steph Curry, who roughly a year ago at this time was teaming with LeBron at, of course, the Paris Olympics. It's out of hand. Now, I'm not, hating on Jake Fisher. He's been a pretty reliable reporter. The amount of rumors, reports, all these different things stating that LeBron James doesn't want to stay in LA and that, this team is interested in LeBron. This team is interested in LeBron. I wanted to do a video on it because it's kind of, dead time of year. Not a lot of stuff is happening right now. But that's the reason that these things keep coming up. It has gotten to the point where you'll see ridiculous, like LeBron James reports left, right, and center. And this is fair enough, right? The Warriors are interesting because they've, called. So if there ever becomes a point where LeBron requests a trade or that the Lakers actually look to trade LeBron, the Warriors are probably going to be, the team right up there who are going to be trying to get him. Now, in the same vein, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen before the season starts, at least. You can see here, kind of, the propaganda continues for Brian Windhorst and Ramona Shelburne, who have had an interesting offseason of reporting surrounding LeBron. James understood that the Lakers taking advantage of an opportunity to pivot to the younger superstar. But from James' perspective, sometimes those things are lost during transition. And of course, talked about this was prior to Luka extension, how, LeBron opted into his player option. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, the amount of reports, conflicting reports, and we'll dive into some more stuff here in a minute. This is pretty interesting information, right? The fact that, and this isn't the hate on Jake Fisher, I'm going to be diving into some ridiculous stuff after, but clearly there's a point where the Warriors desperately tried to get LeBron and the Lakers didn't bite. And if they were going to trade LeBron, it probably would have been now, right? It would have been this offseason. They would have had to sit down, and they definitely did, have a long conversation with him and say, hey, how do you feel about the future of this team? It's obviously Luka Doncic's team now. He signed Luka that, big extension, and LeBron picked up his player option because it's a ridiculous amount of money, all these different things. But we think back to the statement Rich Paul went over, all these different things. I mean, feel free to pause if you haven't heard about the statement by Rich Paul. It's at the point now where it's like, we know LeBron wants to compete for a championship, and he's going to try to do that in LA. Lakers made the moves, at least some very good moves, to propel them towards that goal. And all of these reports about the Warriors being interested in LeBron's going to be getting traded here. It's just out of hand at this point. And you can see another article that has dropped a bit of a headline here. Lakers draw a line on the persistent LeBron James trade speculation, and their line is from Dan Wokey, all these different things. It's most likely not going to happen because why are they, if they were going to trade LeBron, A, it probably would have already happened, but B, why are they going to continue to, like at this point, this team is better with LeBron James. And if you make a trade for, like we'll dive into now, a ridiculous one, which has LeBron and Bronny James going to the Warriors for Jimmy Butler and a 2028 first round pick. Like if you're the Lakers, do you consider this? Like, no, I don't think you do. Now, you can see here why it makes sense from Golden State. You pair Curry, you pair, of course, Curry with LeBron, and you bring Bronny James over, who is actually a decent prospect, like way better than most fans, myself included, would have ever imagined, at least thus far in his development career and development path for a 58th pick or whatever he was late in the second round. But these are the trades that have been coming up day after day, and that's why I want to make a video on it. I think it's pretty safe to say that LeBron's not going to get traded. And obviously, no matter what teams have been calling on him, the Warriors are obviously the most interesting one. And he's, they're the team that has been reported the most, being interested in him. It's the first time we've gotten a concrete report about a team that's actually interested in, I guess rather has called. We know every team in the league is probably gonna be interested for LeBron, to a degree. But like we're seeing a lot of these trades, and this point you'd be swapping, Jimmy Butler for LeBron essentially in a first round pick. I don't think it would do anything for team morale. B, I don't want to see Jimmy Butler on the Lakers if you're giving up LeBron James. Like we saw him go to the Warriors, helped a little bit, didn't really do much in the playoffs. Like I would rather just ride with LeBron James and see what he can do. LeBron elevates even at his age right now. I think he's a better player than Jimmy Butler, and he elevates the team a lot more than Jimmy Butler does. Now, you could argue the 2028 first round pick, but if you want to get draft picks back, you're better off just trading him in a different trade and getting a ton of different draft picks back anyway. And I don't know. It's just getting out of hand at this point. Not necessarily speculation, just the way the narrative has been about LeBron James this whole offseason, whether that was, Brian Windhorst, Ramona Shelburne saying he doesn't want to keep an eye out on it. He might not want to play in LA to, of course, I mean, even the Rich Paul comments, and Rich Paul did it to himself a little bit. He did say that LeBron wants to compete with the championship and that he's been in constant contact with Jimmy Buss, Rob Pelinka, of course, before Mark Walters, all these different things. At the end of the day, the Lakers did what they had to do. You look at the depth chart now. You have Luka, you have Reaves, Rui, LeBron, Ayton. Like, it's a very good starting five. Is it championship caliber? That's what, it probably is if everyone strikes at the same time and is all firing the same cylinders. But, like, outside of that, I'm not entirely sure that this is the route that, the Lakers want to go regarding trading LeBron James. It's just not going to happen. It's getting out of hand now. And I did want to cover, I vow to keep you guys up to date with all the latest Lakers news. And this is a piece of Lakers news. So, I mean, also let me know down below, like, would you do this trade? Like, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I don't think it makes sense for the Lakers. Warriors, it kind of makes sense for them. But, like, for a trade as big as the LeBron James trade would be, both from a media perspective, from just like the outlook, and even just the narrative, you'd have to get more than just Jimmy in a 2020 first. Like on the surface, sure, it makes some sense. You are getting Jimmy Butler, a very, very good player, kind of heading out of his, towards the end of his career a little bit. But like, where would you slide him in? I mean, you'd slide him in at the 4, probably, maybe the 3, depending on what they do with Rui. I don't like it. And at the end of the day, I think it's a bit of a, I'm not going to say a ludicrous trade, but one like, we got to stop with these ridiculous LeBron James trade proposals specifically, because obviously it's the time of year where trade proposals are going to be flying. Like, I did Dylan Brooks one yesterday. Like, I'm obviously guilty of it too, but that's like a realistic one, right? And there's still a world, I think, where Rob Pelinka is, and he is actively looking at potential trade options, but it's not going to be for LeBron James, whether that be the Warriors, whether that be any other team. He's going to stick with that. And one other thing I want to kind of dive into even on this even more is Charles Barkley recently coming out and saying that they haven't been successful in probably 4 years. And Charles Barkley thinks LeBron James needs to move on from the Lakers. It basically goes on to say that LeBron is going to have to move on at some point. And this is on the BetMGM network. It is what it is. Even though he's been here, even though he's been putting up good numbers, they haven't been successful in 4 years. It's already Luka's team now. You don't sign and trade for Doncic, give him all that money, and it's not his team. It is Luka's team. There's no doubt about it. Dumb quote, right? It's just a dumb quote. Like, yeah, we haven't been successful in 4 years, but you won a championship right before that, which not a lot of teams have done, right? Only 4 other teams have done that. Like, it's stupid. It's a dumb argument, but I wanted to bring that up there just to show how ludicrous things have gotten. But folks, you guys are absolute peace. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. See you guys later.